I mean, producer Alex, start the music, baby. Start the music, my guy. We're about to start ripping. I got a lot to say today, and I'm a little agitated. This is a jam right here.
All the time, too. This music.
No.
This music. And just like that, another NFL Sunday's in the books, eh?
Another NFL Sunday's in the books. And for anyone watching on YouTube right now, not just listening, Luke Bellis is in the movie Interstellar. I mean, you can see right through his forehead into the bookshelf now. It's the Illuminati. It's really bizarre, but good for you, man. That's pretty impressive. You've reached the fourth dimension.
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like it the way that I was seeing the board this week. I feel like everything's kind of starting to open up, so it makes sense.
You did have a lot of good picks.
That we're becoming one with the screen. I say, Luke, let's just jump right into it. We don't have to do a small talk. We don't do anything like that. I want to start with the Detroit Lions. We had a nice little chat about them last week on the pod. They get a big divisional win this week. Detroit Lions are back. What are they, 6-7 now?
Oh yeah, they're back. Yeah, for sure, Luke. Yeah, keep pumping their tires. You want to build them up a little more? Because I'm about to tear the whole thing down.
They are the hottest team in football, if you ask.
They're not the hottest team in football. That'd be the Cincinnati Bengals. You're trolling me right now. That's what you're doing. Say something else too.
I don't never
explain to me this, Luke. Explain to me this. Why are Lions fans so excited about what is happening right now? The way I see it, with this 4-game win streak, they're 21% chance of making the playoffs. That's not a good amount. That is not good.
That number tripled
all they have done
after today.
Oh, great. All they have done is gotten a worse draft pick for next year. You look at this game today, okay, and we can talk about the Vikings, but Kirk Cousins just threw for 425 yards against your defense. You converted a fake punt for 60 yards. You also almost blew it again, and somehow, this was actually really dope that they called this one, had your starting tackle go in motion on a 3rd and 7, slung the pill to him where he probably got 12 yards. Maybe, I don't know the exact yardage. Sealed the game. That is absurd. That is
Detroit Lions football.
Okay, this is not a good fundamental team. A good fundamental team does not need to do fake punts and go for it on 4th down and throw it to their right tackle. They don't need to do those things. That is a team that is playing like they have nothing to lose. And then all of a sudden these Lions fans want to be like, dude, we got a shot to go to the playoffs. Why? First off, why do you even fucking care if you're in the playoffs? That's my first thing. Because God knows you're not coming out of the NFC. Again, it's just, to me, it's a problem. And people, it's this, that, and the other. It's also the fans. You cannot be a true football fan if you're going to be happy if your team goes to the playoff and gets bounced. 9-7 or 9-8 now should not be something that you're pulling for as a football fan. This defense stinks. Kirk Cousins threw 425 yards. Justin Jefferson had 226 yards? That's a good season. That was a good season for me. Okay, he did it in one game. This is a joke. Okay, I'm sick of it. And yes, I'm a Lions hater, but I'm sick of it, and I cannot believe how many Lions fans are sitting here really excited about what they're watching. Because to me, it's not good. It's not good football. They snuck one out today with some trickery, and they're going to get fucking slapped soon. They're going to get absolutely fucking slapped because the 4th down shit and the fake punts and all that other bullshit only goes so far in this league. And that's that. And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so, Luke, and the rant's over.
I mean, like, Luke, they were 1-6. They're 1-6. They're 6-7 now. They've won 5 of their last 6. They beat the Packers, the Bears, the Giants, the Jags, and the Vikings. So not much to write home about, right? Your point about their they're winning all these games late in the year. They're going to screw up their draft position. They do have the Rams pick, so they will have that capital. Graphics guy Chris, your boy from TSN Edge, big Lions fan. He's excited. They're excited. I don't know. It's hard to they've had nothing to be excited about now, and it's just they're 6-7.
That's
They got
fair.
an
That's
easy
fair.
schedule coming
Now,
up.
I will say this:
maybe.
They have a legitimate chance to win 10 games. They can win out, but the problem is they'll fuck it up.
Yeah. The problem is
look at their
Jared
next
Goff
four.
has to go to the Jets next week.
That'll be their toughest one. Carolina. After that, it's Carolina, Chicago, Green Bay.
A lot of winnable games there.
A lot of winnable games. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to go. It'll probably be against the Bears. And all of a sudden, it'll be like, oh, damn, we fumbled. We threw a pick. The fake punt ended up being a bloodbath. And you're going to be sitting there being like, why couldn't you just play regular football and beat the shit out of the Bears because you're better than them? But we'll see.
It is odd. They just don't kick. And when they do, like it sometimes makes sense because they just don't have good kickers either. It's like the special teams stuff. It's almost like Dan Campbell just can't figure it out. So he's like, fuck it, we're just gonna go for it a bunch on fourth down.
Here's the scary thing. It's very weird. Here's the scary thing. This team only lost to the Eagles by 3, lost to the Vikings by 4 the first time they played, lost to the Seahawks by 3. They had 2 games stretch where they got slapped. Miami, they lost 4, and they lost to Buffalo by 3. Like, this team is a legitimate, talented playoff team, but it's the fucking Lions. They just find a way to do dumb shit. And again, like, it drives me nuts. And what pisses me off and why I'm so agitated is today was a game for me where I wanted to see them come out and just play regular ball and just beat the Vikings straight up, mano-y-mano. And instead, it's like, no, we got to go to the tricks, man. We got to go to the tricks. And like in college, that was some shit we did at Rice. But you know why we went to the tricks? Because we weren't better than anyone we played. We stunk. Yeah. So it's like, dude, can we just elect the tricks and beat teams square, like head up? Jared Goff's throwing the ball well. They have 2 very, very good running backs in Swift and Jamal Williams. Like, just stop someone on defense and beat the hell out of them offensively. Anyways, I'm done. I swear, I said I was done 5 minutes ago. I'm done now.
I know. We'll get you out of it. What else is on your mind? We got a full NFL slate. You're coming in hot. I think you're on your 7th cold brew of the day, which is just like, don't have an 8th. I know you're in LA and it's still not that late.
Don't worry. I got this new Aura ring, not a sponsor, but the Aura ring does my sleep.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully those cold brews won't hurt the Aura ring.
Shout out Dave.
Dave, yeah, this ring right here apparently tracks my sleep. A lot of stuff here, man.
How does it track?
We're getting healthy.
You're getting right. You're getting your mind right,
bro.
You're training.
That's for the scientists. It's for the scientists' answer, not me, man. I'm the.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff for the scientists. What isn't for the scientists is dude, Patrick. Can we talk about Patrick Mahomes for a minute? Did you see the little fucking? He did it again today. He's nuts. He's nuts.
He's nuts, Luke. And what the thing about it for me is when you prepare to play Patrick Mahomes, it's like, hey man, all hands on deck defensively. You're watching film all week. It's not just Patrick Mahomes, it's Travis Kelce who's really transcended that position as far as what a tight end does. He's not just a down the field stretch the seam guy. He's like a slot receiver. He's going to put a little juke move on you. We call it a jerk route. He's going to put a lot of wiggle into his shit. Now he's going to stretch the seam. He's going to do all that. And, now you think of Andy Reid and how he uses McCole Hardman. Today it was Jerick McKinnon, guys like that. Juju Smith's coming into his own here. So when you are on a defense and you're gearing up to play an offense that's this creative and has this much talent on it, that in itself is extremely tough. And then all of a sudden you start kind of hot. You kept into a couple field goals and Mahomes pulls that shit out. You know how deflating that is as an entire team where you're like, bro, we're actually kind of slowing this man up right now. And he just scrambled over here, did a little no-look grenade chuck. Like he didn't really bend his elbow. He just grenade chucked the ball for a 40 plus, 50 plus touchdown, whatever yard line they're on. I mean, that shit was absurd.
Yeah, it's not. I can't imagine just like how slow the game kind of moves for him in a moment like that, where it's a mad scramble. He's just like, oh yeah, I can just kind of like you can just flip this out to Jerick McKinnon, and he'll just take this for 60 yards. I mean, like, yeah, look at this, right? Producer Alex just pulled up the picture, and we see it like almost weekly. And this wasn't a prime time game. This wasn't bright lights. This wasn't a big moment. This was they were killing the Denver Broncos, and he was just like, oh, just like, and he makes it look routine. It's
routine. And producer Alec, if you can pull that back up one more time, to me, what is the really like precise shit, if you will? It's coming up. It's coming up. I don't have it yet. It's gonna get there.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. There it is.
There
okay.
It is.
He's looking at Simmons to make sure that Simmons doesn't fall back and tip this ball. You know, it's not that he's doing it to like, okay, I'm trying to pimp this. You know, I'm going to no look it. Like in the moment, in that split second, he's like, yo, I got to make sure that Simmons doesn't get on this thing. So I'm going to give him absolutely no, tell, if you will, that this ball is going to Jerick McKinnon right now. I'm looking the other way. Then to awkwardly throw it and have it accurate enough where McKinnon can catch it and run. I mean, there's no other way to say other than it's just a very special play. And when you play a divisional game in Denver, even though the Broncos aren't great, you need special plays, and the guy does it.
I thought Denver showed a lot of fight today. Where in a game where I thought it would have been really easy for them to hit an eject button.
They did, and I don't want to come on here and just be Debbie Downer for any Bronco fan, producer Alec. But the problem is the way they showed fight is still not very good football. Again, like I encourage you to go through and watch some of the touchdowns. Russ, I think it was his second one to Jerry Jeudy. He's looking the other way, and then he's like, oh shit, it's not there. And then he kind of switches and is about to start scrambling, and they drop Jerry Jeudy and he finds him in the end zone. Like there's a go ball, which is Russ's specialty. There's Russ making plays with his legs, and they're all good plays. Don't get me wrong. But what's tough is that football like that is hard to do consistently. And that's what we've seen with Denver this year is that they just don't have a consistent offense. There's no foundational piece. And Russ played that way in Seattle. But for most of the years, we had a consistent piece, which was our run game. Even when our run game wasn't the best in the NFL, it was still at least in the middle of the pack, and people had to respect it because the moment you didn't, we would be very good. Now, the years with Marshawn, obviously, we were very good at running the ball. But you get my point. It's like that opens a lot up where this Denver run game is putrid. It's very, very bad. And then today, it's like they made a lot of plays out of just sheer will and heart, but they need some sort of just functionability when it comes to like fluidly moving the ball down the field, and they don't have that still. So there were some bright spots today. It's still bad times at the Mile High City. Bad times, Luke.
And I don't think those bad times are ending anytime soon. I didn't fully realize this until about a week ago. His contract that he signed in the offseason with them, the 5-year extension, doesn't kick in until after next season.
Yes.
So they have him until
he's Seahawks contract.
Yeah.
And what's tough is I think that going into the year when they made some of these trades, the thought was Seattle would be very, very bad this year. Doormat of the NFC West. These guys would be potential Super Bowl contenders. So that's another thing that's funny about this league is when some of the trades come out, it'll be like, oh, he traded second rounder for a third rounder or whatever. And I'll be like, it's not that simple. We always have these like, as a fan, it's like, oh, first round, second round. It's like, well, if you trade a first rounder, but you're a really, really good team and you get a second rounder from a really shitty team, you really just traded 10 spots. You see what I'm saying? So I think that was part of Denver's thought process too was, hey, we're taking their best player. They're going to be in a complete rebuild. Bobby Wagner's gone. Russ is now gone. They don't have a quarterback. We know Drew Lock is all about. He's, maybe mediocre. We don't think much of Geno. they're going to go win 4 or 5 games this year. So we're going to win 12. The pick discrepancy isn't going to be as far as what people think. Little did they know that they would be 3-10. Correct. It's going to be the exact opposite. Seattle is about to get a top, 5 pick. I mean, it's kind of wild when you think of it. Seattle's about to pick 5th in the draft. Something like that.
Yeah, and it's like we're seeing it now, right? With the amount of teams that are moving first rounders to go get quarterbacks, right? The Rams did it with Stafford, the Broncos did it with Wilson, and we're gonna have 2 teams picking probably inside the top 5 without their own picks, right? The Lions and the Seahawks are just gonna get incredible value on those deals, and both teams just made out like gangbusters. I know the Rams got a Super Bowl, but I think the Lions are pretty happy with the return they would have gone for Stafford there.
No question. Now, here's back to the Lions. Do you not, at this point, let Jared Goff be your guy?
I think so. I think, I don't mind Jared Goff. I'm not Jared Goff. I'm not, the biggest Jared Goff fan. I think there's a reason why the second he left LA, they won a Super Bowl. But Jared Goff seems Jared Goff seems like the prototypical Detroit Lions quarterback. He's good enough to not be bad, but he's not good enough to get you over the top. But for a fan base that is extremely happy to be 6-7 and 4 games out of the division, maybe 3 games out of the division at this point of the season, Jared Goff's going to be your guy because he's going to flash. He's going to have games where he throws for 400 passing yards. He's going to throw for a ton of touchdowns. He's going to hook up with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams a bunch. But when they need him, I don't think Jared Goff's the kind of guy to win you a football game in December or January. At least he hasn't been up until this point of his career. But in my entire life, the Lions haven't been that franchise. So they seem like a good marriage.
I think they're a good marriage. And the next thing I think that they should avoid a quarterback at all costs with that pick is because you look at this team and the identity that Dan Campbell wants to be is a run-first team. I mean, he's been very, very open about that. I think that's partially why they got rid of Hawkinson or let Hawkinson go, was because he's more of a receiving tight end as well. So to me, it's like you look at this team and I'm like, they want to run the ball. They can run the ball. Why don't you go to defense? And now you look at this Lions roster. And again, I was obviously dogging them 10 minutes ago, and this is why. But it's like going into next season, you should have offensively Amon-Ra, who's been sick, Jared Goff, who's been very good, an offensive line with Taylor Decker, Sewell, Frank Ragnow. I mean, I don't know how many years DJ Shark is signed, but he's been good for them even though he's been hurt. Josh Reynolds. Okay, and now on the other side, you got Aiden Hutchinson from last year, who's had a good rookie campaign. Jeff Okudah is supposed to be a very good DB, and I think he is. Go get yourself a top 5 linebacker, another DN, D tackle. Get yourself another guy to help on that defense. And then you can really just sit here and be like, okay, we have arguably the best roster in the NFC North. Let's go win. And then you can really blame the coaching staff when they don't.
Hey, apparently producer Alec has a funny Lions clip we can bring in here, so I'm more than happy to check that out. Most talented roster in the division. I mean, like the Vikings. The Vikings.
I'm saying next year. I'm saying with a top 5 pick. Not right now. Not right now. Not right now, Luke.
Whatever.
Oh, here we go.
Well, I was about to say something bad, but dude's got some nuts on him, bro. Like, that's simple as that. I couldn't find another word, but yeah, Dan Campbell's gonna be him, and nobody's gonna change that, and that's what I love about him. Appreciate it.
And there's Penei Sewell on Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell. Presumably, that's a question about the play call that you referenced earlier. That was nuts. That was like that's Motor City Dan at his finest right there. And I mean, I don't root against athletes. I don't root against stuff like that, but it would have been pretty funny if that play would have just, ball gets tipped off of his hands or something like that. The Lions get cute. The Vikings come down, win it at the buzzer. Like that would have been same old Lions.
Yeah.
That would have just been
like an offensive lineman. He made a hell athletic play because he had to open the hips up.
Yeah.
But it's like an offensive lineman opens the hips up, tips the ball in the air, and it's a pick six the other way. That's like a possibility when you call shit like that.
100%. Did you guys ever do any like weird stuff like that with like big boys or any D
Not that
tackles
I can
getting touches
really,
at the 1 yard line?
not that I can really recall. The one that I think sticks out the most to me, which is kind of a funny story, big moment in Seahawk playoff history, was we threw a fake field goal to Gary Gilliam against the Packers in the NFC Championship. Little backstory to this one. So
tell
we
me
come
about it.
in, we're playing the Packers, NFC Championship, trip to the Super Bowl, and our special teams coach, who is incredible, comes in. He's like, "Hey, boys, hopefully we don't got to use it, but I've got a fake, and it's 100%er." He's like, "It's 100%er, it's going to hit." And we weren't a big like special teams fake team. Back then, we really didn't need to do it that often. But if he saw something he really liked, he'd put it in. And we go up, and John Ryan, Canadian, was our holder, our punter. And he says, "Hey, man, whichever side AJ Hawk's on is the side that we're throwing this to." Because for some reason, they don't line up correctly. They never do. And if you watch this, again, I'm trying to articulate this without throwing anybody under the bus here. If you watch this, AJ Hawk is put in an impossible situation. He either rushes to make the tackle or he plays man coverage. And the thing people didn't realize with John Ryan, shout out great Canadian. Here it is. Here it is. But I want to pause it. Can you pause it for a sec? Can we rewind it? So
here we are.
As you can see, it was AJ Hawk and some other guy. It's kind of tough for me to tell, but I'm actually supposed to get this ball. So we were joking all week. I believe we called it the Pam Anderson play or something like that because Pam Anderson's Canadian. It was going to be Canadian to Canadian. So what we had here was you're going to see the wing, which is Gary Gilliam, go. This was it was like 80% of the time AJ Hawk lines up over here, and 20% he lines up on the other side. So we're going to put Luke to the side where we want him to go. Unless it's the 20%er, Luke's going to catch a ball here, and that's why we did the Canadian call there. But what you're going to see here, and you'll see this happen in 1 second, John Ryan has the ability to trigger. If AJ triggers, John Ryan has the ability to run. So basically, again, we're putting AJ in just a lose-lose situation where if he comes after John, we're going to just dink it over the top to Gary Gilliam. And if he doesn't, he's going to run for the first down. Putting things in perspective here, notice the time.
Yeah.
In the scoreboard. This was kind of like the first thing. I mean, we all know what happens in this game. For those of you who don't, it ends up being a wild comeback. We get an onside kick, et cetera, et cetera. We had 0 points with 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third quarter. And our guy, Snots, has his nuts in a wheelbarrow and calls a fake field goal. Okay. And then when we get out there, it's supposed to be to a tight end. It ends up going to an offensive tackle. And now we can roll it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So they rush both guys from the edge, and you see there he goes. AJ started to take if you run that back, he starts to take the runner, which is John Ryan. And
right there.
That leaves Gilliam good to go. And again, John Ryan could really scoot for a punter.
And nice little touch there, eh?
I mean, dude, John Ryan was a great athlete. I hope he hears this. He was a very, very good athlete. I mean, just a Canadian legend all around. After he was done playing for us, went back to CFL just because he was that much of a GOAT. It was like, man, I'll just kind of, after my prolific NFL career, I'm just going to go back home to Saskatchewan and kick for the boys, man. I mean, the guy's an absolute Canadian legend. That's all I can say.
It's odd hearing you say nice things about a kicker, John.
Punter. I like punters, not kickers.
You like punters, not kickers, but that's an important designation to make. It's a big difference there.
So yeah, fun. That would be my one throw to a big man moment.
So this is a dumb question, I bet, but you're going out there for a fake field goal? Is there any part of you that's like, look normal? Like, how do we not tip?
Yeah.
That we're running a fake here?
To me, in that situation, the first thing you're going to laugh, but as soon as they called it, the Snides was the name of our special teams coach's last name. We call him Snides. He's like, yo, we're running Canada. But he always says it like super casually. And like you've got to make sure now, like, oh, running Canada, because dudes be watching on the sideline, you know?
Yeah.
So like I remember going over there and like our kicker comes on and like or John and everybody kind of knows, and you just say it in the most like nonchalant way and you no emotion. Hey, Luke, Canada, and you're like, oh, and you gotta like it's like that secret like you were told in grade school where you don't want to like, oh my God. But the first thing I thought of right away in that moment was watch the ball. Because you know John's going to float it. And the last thing you want to do is sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to grab it and run in the end zone. So as soon as he said Canada, I was like, okay, I'm getting this ball. Because, again, it was an 80%er. And I need to watch this floater right into my hands, catch it, secure it, and then go score. Catch the ball. And then all of a sudden I saw, I think it might have been Tremont Williams and A.J. Hawk. Whoever Tremont's side was on was the way we were going and the way AJ was shaded, because Tremont Williams was always the rusher, I want to say. Again, this is dating myself a little bit. So then all of a sudden I see Tremont go the other way and I'm like, shit, it's going to Gilliam. Love my guy Gilliam, but I know they wanted the tight end to catch it. And I remember thinking to myself, dude, I really hope Gilliam snags this shit. And as you saw by the end of that video, the first guy down there, I was happy as shit. I was happy as shit for my guy Gary. So that was that. Good times.
That was a nuts game. I remember watching that game. That was a little onside.
What was crazy about it? Yeah. What was crazy about it, Luke, was there's an energy in maybe you had this with your, let's see if we can keep streak alive here with your single A travel hockey team at some point. But I think everybody who's played sports at any level, you know, at any sport, sometimes you're on a team where you just kind of feel like there's a connection, there's a camaraderie. The saying, I guess the cliche be like you're a team of destiny. Yeah. You know, that team in the year before, in that year, just felt like every game, no matter how bleak the situation was, we were going to win. So I remember when Curse had the ball thrown to him and it was like it was intercepted, and I think there was like 5 minutes left in the game and it was 19-7. And I remember thinking to myself, dude, this is so crazy that we would lose. Like, there's no way. And I looked up, I'm like, oh, we still have time. It wasn't like we're going to lose. Like, we still have time. We can get this done. And next thing you know, 3-0. And then as soon as we got that ball back and we started moving, it was like right back into the zone of like, we're going to win this game. We go down and score. The onside kick comes. And like, we were all going nuts on the sideline. But I'm telling you, it was like the most shocking. It would have been the most shocking thing to me if we didn't get the onside kick.
Yeah.
And I fast forward, like, it wasn't just that moment. We all remember the Blair Walsh missed kick in when he was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I was concussed that game and I'm watching it. No, that was the next year.
Okay.
So I was concussed and I'm watching that game. And again, we've been to back-to-back Super Bowls, and I'm sitting on the couch next to a friend of mine in Seattle. And I mean, I'm torn up inside, Luke, because in my head, I'm like, damn, dude, like, we got to get back and right these wrongs, like right the wrongs from last year. And I'm dying to be out there. I'm just dying to be out there. And the thing comes down, and they got a 29-yard kick to win the game. It's 10-9, no time left or whatever. And I look at and I'm like, yo, he's going to miss this shit. And my boy looks at me, he's like, bro, there's no way. He'd already hit like 250-yarders in the weather. Like, the weather clearly isn't an issue. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, this is like a team of destiny. And sure as shit, he hooks it. Now, unfortunately, we lost the next week anyways, but it just felt like those moments where you have that kind of like energy, that camaraderie, that like family kind of style locker room where you just good things happen.
Good things happen indeed. And so I've pulled up the box score of that Panthers game, and it's jogged my memory here. And I gotta ask, I feel like, so I've talked to you about playing against Tom Brady in a Super Bowl and like being on the same field and across the field from him and whatnot. Cam Newton that year, the MVP year, was just like, it just seemed like a totally different level. And even just like him, the person, the persona, there's that video of him standing there watching the Seahawks all running out of the tunnel. Just like, what was that whole like Panthers team, like, because they kind of came and went, right? Newton popped. He had the MVP year. They went to the Super Bowl, and then it was like he didn't dive on the fumble, and we never really saw much from the Carolina Panthers again, right? It was, it was a great ceiling for Cam Newton, but it's a bit unfortunate that we didn't get to see more of it. And as someone there who got to witness it firsthand, I'm just wondering, like, up close and personal, how much of a different level was he really on there?
Yeah, so I think part of the reason, and again, this is just me guessing here, but the Panthers were very good before that year. And I remember playing them my rookie year, and I think we won like 12-7. And Jermaine Kearse had a long TD catch, just a really grimy football game, very, very physical. It was in Carolina. The next year, we played them in Carolina again, and I want to say we won 13-9. I mean, it was wild, but I want to say there was a tight end for the Seahawks that scored a game-winning TD with like 20 seconds left. Guy was an absolute stud. Yeah.
No way.
But, yeah, just an absolute stud, this guy. And then we played them in the playoffs that year at home and beat them pretty handedly, but the game was close. Another like very physical game. And it was like every time we played the Panthers, we knew like, hey, buckle up. This is going to be an old school football game, very physical, two good teams, two well-coached teams, hard-nosed stuff. Where all of a sudden that year, they finally kind of made the breakthrough. I believe they beat us in the regular season and then beat us in the playoffs as well. And it was kind of one of those things where they had been knocking on the door. And then they finally did it. You nailed it. Cam is the MVP, et cetera, et cetera. And then to get to the Super Bowl and low-key kind of lay an egg, that game was very well for them. That Denver defense was very good. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. But Carolina did not play well in that Super Bowl. I mean, you talk about the fumble. It's devastating. It's devastating, and it's devastating to like rebound from that the next year, because beating the Seahawks twice is tough. Winning all of these games and getting there is so fucking hard. And then you get there and you kind of lay an egg. I don't think they ever rebounded from that. I think that really played into like the psyche of the team. Was they had been knocking on the door for 2-3 years really, and then they finally got there. And there are moments there where they've got the MVP, they should Super Bowl, and they laid an egg. And I don't think anyone on that team was ever the same, nor was the organization.
They haven't won a playoff game since.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. The next season they went 6-10. The year after they made the playoffs, but they got bounced. I almost said the Pelicans. Jesus, they got bounced by the Saints, 26-31, and just nothing since. And funny enough, they might win that division. They might fuck around and win that division, because the Bucks are terrible, and I'm tired of thinking that the Falcons can be a regular football team at all, and the Saints are just awful.
Yeah, and let's go to the Bucks right now, because there's a lot of things that's happening over there that is very hard for me to put my finger on. As an ex-NFLer, there's a lot of times I can watch a game and be like, yo, this is really bad, or this happened, or better, et cetera. I don't really understand what the fuck is going on in Tampa Bay. And what I mean by that is, it's not like Tom Brady has a bad arm, but he's missing throws, crucial throws. Mike Evans had a easy TD and we threw kind of like a back shoulder that ended up hitting him in like the calf. Scotty Miller didn't really beat his man off the line with the release. He beat him by like a surprise. It was like go ball just cooked him because the guy wasn't even lined up. And we went to like throw that one back shoulder, hit the dude in the shoulder. And I'm like, bro, like you need these throws. And then what was scary, if you're a Bucks fan, was that, yes, I know the Niners have a ton of weapons, but your defense is good. And to give up 35 points like that to Brock Purdy just getting cooked is scary. It's very bad. Now, I think part of that, I believe Vita Vea got hurt and that run game really went off. So that definitely plays into it. And then all of a sudden it's like the house of cards falls, or dominoes, whatever analogy you want to use. But you got that whole division's open. I think Atlanta's got a shot. I think New Orleans has a shot. I think everybody's got a shot. I mean, 8 wins might do it. 8 wins might win the division. Shit, 7 wins might do it.
I was gonna say 8 wins might win the division, like going away. You might clinch in week 17 with 8 wins in that division. It's terrible. Honestly, the winners of both South divisions should be disqualified from the playoffs, and we should just take whichever teams from the East divisions that don't make the playoffs and say go. You just go take the playoff game and go play for Tennessee, go play for the Bucks, and because we're done. I'm done with all 8 of those teams. All 8 of those teams suck. I'm tired of watching them play. But Luke, the Colts, you do not want to see the Colts in the playoffs. You don't want to
Colts.
You don't want to see them. If they somehow win that division, that tie could come back, maybe get us in, maybe go to Arrowhead, beat the Chiefs again.
Explain to me this route to get in right now. Explain to me this route to get in, because I'm looking right now and they're 3 back in the win column.
3 back in the win column, only 2 back in the loss column though.
Explain to me how they're going to win 3 games.
Oh, it's easy game. You're on the table. Pull up the Indianapolis Colts schedule real quick. You got to win their last 4 games. I've got it right here
at Minnesota.
A win
versus the Chargers. Wow, win. Oh.
And then we go to New York and beat the Giants. And then January 8th, we play the Texans at Indianapolis to win the division and go to the playoffs for a home playoff game. The Colts are back. It's easy. The Titans lost today. The Colts season is back on. But no, I'm only saying that mainly tongue in cheek. But if the Colts make the playoffs, watch out. All right. Yeah. So we've been going here for a little bit. I want to get your opinion on all the games today. We'll do 1 sentence or less. But first, we had a nice little chat with Pudge, with your boy. Pudge's Picks. The Instagram account got started up today, and he started us with a banger. We got a nice little 5-leg parlay that he put out before the slated game started today. We got 4 legs through. The 5th leg is coming up on Monday Night Football. We need a James Conner anytime touchdown and cash a nice little 20-1 5-legger. We spoke with Pudgy about that earlier this evening. Producer Alec, you want to throw that interview in right here? Okay, so Luke, we got a special guest joining us here. A nice little special guest, and you just imagine the look of joy I saw on my face today when I go on Instagram and I see a brand new account followed me, Pudge's Picks.
Yeah,
Pudge's Picks has made its way to Instagram, and he showed up with a banger. We're gonna get him on here in the pod in a minute, but before we bring Pudge on, let's just kind of let the people know like what your relationship is with Pudge, how far you guys go back, and yeah.
Okay, so my relationship with Pudge. So Pudge's real name is Nick Verkelly. We grew up, let's call it 4 parallel streets apart. Let's call it maybe like 6 total blocks. 2 peas in a pod growing up. Both went to the same small elementary school, same high school. I believe, when you get to kindergarten, I don't know if this experience happened to you, Luke, but your first day in kindergarten, it's really one of 3 things I remember from kindergarten. But you're a little nervous, right? It's like, damn, bro, I'm 4 years old. I'm going to meet other kids. Like, I don't know no other kids, right? So I go in this joint. I'm like, a little tentative, bro. I was a little tentative. And
well, I bet you were probably the only 6'2" kid in the class.
Exactly. I'm big as shit. I'm like, what are all these little kids doing here? Right. And I meet this guy at the time. His name was not Pudge. His name was Nick. And there were some building blocks, man. And we just kind of like saw each other and like, bro, do you want to play building blocks with me? And there's another guy there named Mario who threw the flag. Mario who threw the flag. For those third-time listeners, Mario was also in that kindergarten class. And the next thing you know, we were bros. And then we find out that we live a couple streets apart. Then the bromance grows and grows and grows. And fast forward to this podcast. Pudge to me has been, and just so everybody knows, Pudge is, we're not really into explaining dudes' bodies, but Pudge is a bag of bones. So it's kind of like the polar opposite. He's, no offense, Pudge, but he's very, very slender.
I was Pudge, quite taken aback when I first met Pudge. I was like, I expected him to be a lot bigger. You would think, but
he's a bag of bones.
It's more of an ironic nickname.
Yeah, there's a story to that. We're going to develop that story. It wasn't always an ironic nickname. Okay, shout out Burger King when he was 16 years old. But the guy's an incredible gambler. I think he has a nice balance of what he likes to call the systems, which I'm still not sure what that is. But he does the system gambling into a little bit of, me and him chopping up about some stats, into a little bit of like, hey, once in a while, Pudge will be on like some crazy parlay out of like the 3rd division team out of the least soccer league. So he's deep in the game. And with no further ado, let's bring in Building Blocks, a.k.a. Nick, a.k.a. the greatest gambler in North America, Pudge. Let's bring him in, baby. Let's bring him in. There he is.
What's going on?
Pudgy's picks, bro.
Pudge's picks is here.
Oh, also
it's off to a hot start.
Phenomenal dart smoker. I forgot to add that in. One of the best and most fluid dart smokers I've been around. Some guys really struggle to hack them and then puff them. Pudge, give everybody a little, if you're watching the vid right now, just show how smooth it is, man. I mean, he's the fucking Marlboro, man. Look at him, man. Look at him. Nobody smokes a cleaner cig, bro. Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody.
I grew up, I was always told never quit. So I got to live by that. Every aspect of life. Never give up.
No, I had no comment on that, Pudge. I had no comment.
I'll plead the fifth on that. And Pudge, it seems like you and Luke went from building blocks in kindergarten to finding locks on FanDuel Canada. I thought of that. I thought of that transition the second you said building blocks. It's the only thing I have written down in my show notes so far. And Pudge, I mean, like the Instagram account launched on Sunday. This is coming out on Monday.
Yes.
It won't even be fully a day old by the time our viewers are hearing this, and we already got a nice little 5-legger 20-1 that we're sweating out on Monday Night Football. I feel bad. I wish that the listeners could be in on it with us, but they're gonna have to go follow the account. They're gonna have to go check it out. So we got 4 of the legs down. Just talk to us about this 20-1 parlay and where you're at going into Monday Night Football.
A couple of the picks, like Luke mentioned earlier, those were system plays. Sometimes even myself, I will
stop, bro. Stop. Plays. Can you explain to me what the fuck a system play is, bro? Because I don't know. So I know that some people listening don't know.
So there's a lot of systems. A lot of them will put together they'll pull different statistics together. And based on those statistics, the system will bet a certain team. Obviously, every single one of these games is run over 10,000 times to get the outcome that the system picks. But obviously not every system is great. So there are systems that hit at 30-40%. I mean, in gambling, if you find a system that hits 60-65%, those are good systems to run with.
You sound like an offensive coordinator right now. You sound like Darryl Bevel putting in the install right now. I like this. We better start betting with the system. I don't need Big Ball's belly if I got the system, bro. Let's go. That's a joke. I need Big Ball's belly. I need him. Keep going, Pudge. You're cooking.
So sometimes, I mean, the systems, like I said, sometimes those picks are not picks that I necessarily would off the top of my head look and go that this is a great pick. But if it matches with a couple other systems and you've got, your professionals, your sharps, all those guys are riding it. Obviously, there are some systems that go against that. But more times than not, they are professional gamblers for a reason. So I ride with that.
Can I interrupt again? I got a question.
Yep.
For you, bro. Maybe you can make sense of this. So today, this is news to Belly. But Belly, I'm texting Pudge, and he's sending me some of his picks for the Sunday Nighter. And I'm like, yo, these look all good. Like, they check out. Every one of them checks out football-wise. I'm like, yep, I get why you picked that. Like, obviously, there's chance to all this stuff. But I'm like, Pudge, you have Chargers money line. Explain to me how you think that is a good pick. And where my head comes from is Tua is the number 1 rated passer coming into the game in the NFL. Tyreek is healthy. Waddle is healthy. Trent Sherfield has been good for them. They never even used Gesicki, and he's a good receiving tight end. Not a great one, but a good one. And then I think, okay, the Chargers have the worst run defense. So if you do struggle to run the ball, to throw the ball a little bit, which we're gonna circle back to that. You can run the ball down their throats because you've got Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr. And then I think, wait, Bryce Callahan's hurt. Bryce Callahan was the guy I went to college with as a defensive back. I think he's arguably one of the most underrated defensive backs in the NFL in the last decade. He's been incredible. He signed a couple of big deals. He got hurt a little bit. The guy's an absolute stud. Bosa's hurt he's been hurt rushing the passer. Khalil Mack has not been his normal self. And Derwin James is hurt. So can you explain to me how the goddamn system somehow knew, and Pudge knew, that the Chargers would win this fucking game? After everything that I just said, can you explain that to me? Because in case you don't realize, I'm fucking rattled about it. And for those of you who are listening to this podcast, we're about, 1 hour post-game? So that's why I'm still rattled. But continue.
So that's one of those ones, like you said, where I don't know why the system picks that. Obviously, it's based. I'd have to look further into that exact system. But, the way it rolled today, that system had Lions spread. They had the Jags. They had the Panthers. They had the Ravens. And they had the Chargers. So, it's a perfect day for the system. And like I said, not every pick. Like if I'm I am the Lions' worst nightmare. I bet the Lions lose. I bet against the Lions win. No matter what I do with the Lions, they'll always find a way.
That's not you. That's every single person ever.
No, yeah, honestly, and I was just about to say, when I saw this parlay and it had Lions money line on it, I actually really liked it because I had no bets on Vikings Lions. I was just too scared to kind of pick a side. So I was like, you know what? If Pudge is throwing Lions money line into a parlay, this gives me enough exposure to that game that I want. And the system, the books, whatever you want to call it, they got it right. The Lions being favorites at home over a 10-2 Vikings team. I can't say I saw that coming, but
if you want to talk
we're gonna come back to that later, Luke. I'm gonna put an argument up that they got lucky as shit. We're gonna come back to that later.
Vikings are frauds. They're frauds.
Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that, Pudge. Anyways, keep telling us about what you're sweating tomorrow night. Get out of here with that, Pudge.
Second best team in the NFC, and they got blown out by the Eagles.
The Eagles are. Time out. Pudge. The Eagles are the best. I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFL. I've been saying that for weeks.
And the Vikings.
I've been saying that for more than weeks. I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFL, and I think they're going to win this role. So you will get no argument from there. But the Vikings are fraud is a little far for me. Anyways, let's keep hearing about the parlay, Pudge. What do we spread? Look, Luke Bellis has a lot of shit that he wants to talk to me here. Like, we're going to get it ripping.
We're locked in. Okay, but producer Alex pulled up the ticket. So for those of you that are just listening at home, we got 5 legs. 4 of them are already cashed. We got Detroit Lions money line, Carolina Panthers plus 4.5, Deebo Samuel over 56.5, rushing plus receiving, Austin Eckler over 40.5 receiving. I think that hit in the second quarter of Sunday Night Football. Mr. Luke Wilson with a very nice middle finger there. And now we got
fucking Panthers.
The Panthers.
Fuck out of here, man.
Oh,
my boys blew one today.
And thankfully,
I got a lot of shit to talk.
We were at. I think it was at 55 for Deebo before that 3-yard run where he got hurt.
Yeah, he was right near that number.
Yeah, I think he finished with 58 before the injury. So that one was definitely. I sweat that one out a little bit.
Yeah. And now,
Pudge, let's get Connor in there.
You get the beautiful part about throwing that Monday night prop on it. You just get to sweat this out. Now we got the James Conner anytime touchdown at home, prime time, star running back.
And I think that if the Cardinals want to win tomorrow, the way that they got to get things going is James Conner. If James Conner doesn't get going from the beginning, they'll simply have to pass. And once you take out DeAndre Hopkins from Kyler Murray might as well be a high school quarterback because there's no chance if James Conner does not get the ball and get it going early on, the Cardinals will get blown out.
I like that, Pudge. Pudge, do me one last favor, man, because you're about to be in 24 hours, 22 hours. You're about to be $500 richer. Just give me one last drag from that cig, bro. Or is it gone? Is the cig gone?
We'll spark one more up.
Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, we introduce you Pudgy's Picks. There he is. God, that's a bad name, producer Alec. That's on our 7th grade relay team, potentially 8th grade relay team. Yes, I was abnormally large. Pudge is not small. I just was 6'5" in 7th grade and haven't grown since. But God, that's bad. That's bad. And I needed braces, which I got a year later. Holy Cross Huskies, dominant 4x1 relay team. Ladies and gentlemen, Pudgy's Picks, about to win a 20-20 lay. Next Saturday, we will be dropping an entire segment of Pudgy's Picks so you can ride with him before the game and be on the board, because clearly I'm never going to get you on the board, but Pudgy's Picks will.
And follow the page. We'll have some every Thursday, Sunday, Monday. We might mix in some of those third tier Italian, third tier Saudi Arabian soccer teams into there. Those ones get
sometimes they hit, huh, Pudge?
So anybody that wants to be a night owl, those 3 a.m. kickoffs are lively.
Pudge,
we appreciate it.
But before we get you out of here, who's winning the World Cup? We're down to only 4 teams.
Oh, it's a lot of people.
What do the systems say, though? What are the systems?
I don't know the soccer systems. That's the problem.
Okay.
But I do know that my mom is French, so if I've got to pick one side, it's since Italy's not there and the U.S. is knocked out, we're gonna go with France.
There you have it. France it is. Pudgy, we'll always have the Euros. The Euros were fun. That was a good time to be Italian.
Yeah,
but
they were.
Man, missing the World Cup shortly after. That is something we'll have to maybe get into another time. That was just
2 in a row.
That is a LA Rams Super Bowl right there.
2 in a row, boys.
Yeah.
Belly, don't forget, I'm half Italian, bro. I was right there. Forza Missouri for the Euro, my guy.
Oh, I bet. Number 1 fan.
Number
got
1.
Your jersey and everything.
Hard.
All right. Pudgy, thank you for joining us. This was fun. We're gonna have to do this more often. Keep cashing parlays
tomorrow night.
Yeah,
sounds good, Brody.
We'll be live next Saturday.
Beauty. We'll
love it.
We'll chat with you. We'll chat with you then.
All right. Later, boys.
Pudgy's a beauty, eh?
Pudge he's the best, man. He's the best.
I knew because you had told me about him, I think in August when we first started working. You were like, "Oh man, like you got to meet my buddies from home. Like they're nuts, they're degenerates, or all this, they're that." And then you just started sending me these like parlays that he was putting together, and I was like, "This guy seems incredible." And then you're telling me all the stories and stuff, and I was just like, "Shit! Like we gotta get this guy in the mix somehow." So the Instagram account is up, it is rocking, and like I said, hopefully we get it started with a nice little 20-1 cash. That'd be a nice way to get all the stuff going. But you want to play 1 sentence or less? You want to zip through?
Let's play it.
Zip through these games here. Let's start with Bills Jets. 20-12 for the Bills today. Weird game.
Great win for the Bills. I'm tough on the Bills. But that was a good win. Cold weather game. Shout out Dawson Knox for just injecting this team with adrenaline. And shout out the Bills. You're always proving me right, though. Because they got to go and get a fucking punt block just to let the Jets hang around. They can't just finish a game off the way they should. Shout out the Bills for making me look like a genius.
And shout out the Bills for that safety. The Jets got those 2 points coming down the other way, down 11. They kicked the field goal to lose by 8, covered. It's good teams win, great teams cover. So I'm a big fan of Bob Saleh at the moment. Bengals Browns 23-10 Bengals. Bengals are just kind of humming right now, it seems like.
Bengals are humming. I also think there's going to be a lot of issues in Cleveland if Deshaun Watson doesn't get this thing going soon, because he kind of looks like Mary's lost little lamb out there at times.
Yeah, and I don't feel too bad for him. So,
No, neither do I.
Cowboys Texans. This was a fun one.
I'm not dogging the Cowboys as much as everybody thinks. I thought they got the job done. I mean, there was a lot of fluke plays that happened to them today, but what a stand by that defense.
Yeah.
Late in the game there, you want to talk about championship ball? Like, boom, your star quarterback throws a pick, makes a mistake, whatever. Your back's against the wall. Not only did they stop them, it wasn't even a field goal. I mean, granted, they went for it on fourth down, but my goodness, what a play by that defense. All four of those plays. Shout out to the Cowboys defense on that one.
And then, shout out the offense coming right back the other way. Well, I don't know how much time was left on the clock when they got the ball back, but they had to go 98 yards. They had to go win that game.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be given to them. They went and got it, and the Texans.
Yeah, I'm not panicking. A lot of people were trying to dog the Cowboys. I'm not dogging them for that. That was not the win they wanted, but they got the job done.
Lions Vikings. Is it official? Is it time to be worried about the Vikings?
No.
Or have we already done this?
I mean,
I forgot. Yeah.
Well, we talked about a lot about this in the pod. Is it time to be worried about the Vikings? I mean, I think the Vikings are exactly who we thought they are. I mean,
yeah,
they're very good offensively.
Another team, exactly. Yeah, exactly. A team that we think they are right now is the Eagles. They just walk into New York and just steamroll the Giants 42-22. Like,
yeah,
just two different teams.
Until they get to the Super Bowl, I think Dallas matches up well against them. Dallas does, but I'm not sure that the Eagles will be beaten by anyone. They will only beat themselves until they get to the Super Bowl. And I'd say the team that matches up the best against them would be Dallas. Like, if I'm an Eagles fan, I would rather see the Niners than seeing Dallas.
Why?
I think that although they look good today, I think that Dallas's run game is better than the Niners and more physical. I think that will be tougher. I'm not saying that they can't do it. It will be tougher for Philadelphia. Where I look at this Philadelphia defense, and I think they have a lot of athletic guys. They might not have as many thumpers, if you will. So you look kind of at the running back style and a little bit of the Niners offense, and it's a little more, I think there's more athletes across the board than in Dallas. Not saying Tony Pollard and Zeke aren't athletes, but you look at CMC, even Elijah Mitchell is not maybe as big, and they do a lot of, creative things offensively. And now with Brock Purdy, and he obviously looked like, guy looked incredible today, but Dak Prescott, to me, he's got a little bit more of a live arm. He's a little bigger. To me, that Dallas offense is not the offense you want to see. If you could pick between the two of them, I would rather see the Niners offense than that's kind of where I'm coming from. Both are good, though, but I would rather, if I'm an Eagles fan, I'd rather see the Niners.
Yeah, that makes sense. Moving on, Ravens Steelers. Ravens get a much needed win there.
To be honest with you, I actually had the Ravens. That was the one that I was with the systems. I was against the systems, and it cost me. I was with the systems on this. Not the most surprising when they got Dobbins back. I had a cup of coffee over there in Baltimore last year during the COVID era. The 3-week COVID era. I thought that Dobbins was extremely, extremely talented and really fit what Greg Roman was trying to do. And then defensively, they're still very, very good. So it was not surprising that they kind of shut down the Steelers, especially with Trubisky in the game. So there wasn't a huge shock for me there. Yeah. Trubisky had a tough day.
Couple of bad red zone turnovers there, man.
Very bad.
Poor Tomlin. I just want to give Mike Tomlin something to work with. He had the skeleton of Ben Roethlisberger for the last couple of years. Kenny Pickett, he's finally got a toy in Kenny Pickett. Now Pickett gets hurt. He's got Trubisky. It's like it was, what was it, Mason Rudolph and like Duck Hodges for a little bit. It's just like, I want to give Mike Tomlin. Yeah, shout out Duck Hodges. I think he's an Ottawa Red Blacks quarterback at the moment. Producer Alec would know that, big CFL guy. But it's like I just want to give, like, I like Mike Tomlin, former Red Black. I apologize. I just want to give Mike Tomlin like a team. I really like him. I want to see the Steelers be super competitive again. It feels like that's not happening anytime soon, though.
No, I'm with you on that.
Moving on. How about this one? This one just way out of left field. Jacksonville 36, Tennessee 22.
I think Doug Peterson's changing the culture there. That'll be my focus on this thing. Especially, early, you see Derrick Henry blow up. I think he had 100 or close to 100 in the first half. And I'm like, this is exactly how Tennessee wins. They'll choke them out now. They'll play good defense. Now, Tennessee's secondary is banged up, I believe, but that's still no excuse. And I also think that a team like Jacksonville, 3-4 years ago, they quit. It's like, let's just, roll it out there rest of this game and go home with an L. Doug Peterson got these boys playing hard. And that goes a long way in this league. And we'll get into that podcast after podcast. I will continually say that when you have a coach that has the team bought in and they play hard, it is one of the biggest advantages in the NFL.
Hey, man. Don't have to tell me twice.
I like that.
Don't have to tell me twice. Let's moving on. Kansas City, Denver. This was weirdly more. It was one more time here.
Yeah, shocking.
Give me a sec.
Okay.
Moving on. Chiefs, Broncos. This game was a lot more entertaining than I think we probably expected it to be. I didn't see a shootout coming in this one.
No, and it was shocking. And what was shocking to me was you don't really see a team like Kansas City let teams win the game. Like they had their foot on their throat. I think it was 27-0. And then all of a sudden it was like, damn, dude, this thing's a 6-point game in the fourth quarter. Kansas City still got it done. I think they're mature enough to know, like, we can't make those kind of mistakes. I was listening to Mahomes' presser afterwards, and some of the things he said, he's spot on. They need to clean that up quickly because the reality is, like, this is not the time of year to be making simple mistakes like they did.
Yeah, and I kind of trust that the Chiefs will clean that up if needed. I think I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
Doubting them at this point. You like to remind me quite often that I had them missing the playoffs coming into the year, but and I'll wear that. I'll own that. I'll wear that. And hey, like I think I say this every time. I thought the Chiefs would take a step back. I didn't know the rest of the league would take 10 steps back this year. But
facts.
Yeah, they I think they had a sloppy game against Denver last year where they almost lost or something like that. They have a couple of sloppy turnovers late. Just seems like they get these divisional games late in the season. They can sleepwalk their way through them a little bit and then turn it on when needed, especially against a Broncos offense that
I will say, little defense for the Chiefs. Little defense here for the Chiefs. Because of the score so early, I think we all, including myself, forgot how good this Denver defense is.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where we're like, oh shit, it's 27-0. Like they should win by 50. When it was like the fact that they scored that many points against this defense in the first half was a very, very impressive feat.
Well, I thought it was actually, it was interesting because I thought the Broncos could keep it tight with the Chiefs today. They were a dog that I was on. I think it was 8.5. They ended up losing by 6, so they did cover. But I found myself looking at the score in the first half. It was the Chiefs had 27 points, and 14 of those had come off of 2 plays, right? The Mahomes flip pass to McKinnon for 60 yards, and then Wilson throws the pick 6. And I was looking at it, and I was like, they really only, I know it doesn't work like this, obviously, but it's like they've really only scored 2 touchdowns this half. If the Broncos can just score some points, they still could cover. And lo and behold, 14 unanswered to finish the half, and we had a football game. And they still lost.
Yeah.
So
what was really tough, Luke, was I suggested to a good friend of mine, not Pudge, but someone Pudge knows, to take Latavius Murray over because I thought defense would slow them down enough where the Broncos would get the ball and just be like, run it, chew up clock, run the ball, run the ball. But instead, they're down 27 in the blink of an eye, and now I look like a dumbass.
That
like
can
I have
happen
many
quickly.
times.
That can happen quickly in this field, my friend. Welcome to the world of being a dumbass. I got 25 years of experience with it. You will learn quickly. Moving on. Panthers, Seahawks. What's going on in Seattle, Luke?
Skip. No, I'm kidding. That one was tough because the way I looked at it, I was like, dude, you take care of business, and now you got Brock Purdy on a 4-day week after a huge letdown spot when you beat Tampa Bay for the division.
Yeah.
Pete is iconic on Thursday nights. I don't know his exact record, but I'm guessing it's very, very high because we won a lot of Thursday night games there. He's very, very good with primetime games as far as the mentality goes. I know that record is very good. It's in Seattle. You're facing a rookie quarterback, and we go and we fuck it up. We fuck it up. I mean, you can't win games in the NFL if you can't stop the run. And that's just a fact. I mean, you might be able to sneak one out here and there, but in this league, if you give up a lot of yards in the ground, it is extremely hard to win. And when I say a lot, I'm getting the stats out right now. 223. I don't know the numbers, but I would assume that most teams that have 223 rushing yards have a very, very high percentage in the game. And it's just a fact. So you combine that with some turnovers, and Seattle now is, I believe, 2 games out of the division. And things are very, very bleak because, as you know, in this league, it is a copycat league. And I think what has happened is Seattle's been exposed defensively. I think the Bucks did it in Munich. And since that day, there's been a lot of teams that have maybe copied, put their own little wrinkle, but have really followed some of the trends that the Bucks set in Munich. And we haven't really had an answer for it. And we haven't really played well against anyone since then, including the game we beat the Rams. That's defensively.
I might look into some. I think I might look into some alt lines Thursday night on the 49ers. I might. We're gonna have to talk because I don't know. Like, will the Seahawks lose by more than a touchdown at home in primetime on Thursday Night Football? No. That feels like something that if I lay an alt number with the 49ers, like a 6.5 or 7.5, and I watch that game and the Seahawks win it outright, I'm gonna sit there and feel like a moron for having Brock Purdy to cover an alt number against Pete Carroll in prime time. So,
yeah, here's what's tough too about the Seattle game. Their next 3 is versus San Fran, at Kansas City, versus the Jets. They end with the Rams. And again, what kind of hurt my heart was I was like, all right, when we beat the Panthers, we'll be at 8-5. You know, worst case scenario, we'll be playing the Rams at the end of the year to go 9-8 and be fine. You know, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, it's like there's a potential that we are 7-9 going into the last week of the season.
Yeah.
There's also potential that we win. I think we can potentially beat San Fran. I think there's a lot. San Fran without Debo, and you've still got a young quarterback. It's Thursday night. It's at home. There's a lot of things working for us in our favor, but what's not is our defense. It's not playing very well right now.
Yeah, and this easy. And this Niners defense is just it's operating on a different level right now. They're quite good, man.
Yes, it is.
It's quite good. Moving on.
But here's what's not good. We gave up 161 to the Bucks on the ground.
We all know the Bucks run the ball that well.
Correct. Cannot run the ball. We gave up 283 to the Raiders the next week. Yikes. And then I'm getting it out here. The Rams, we gave up 171 on the ground. Bro, I'm not making these numbers up. I mean, this is a bloodbath.
It is.
And then I just said we gave 223, I believe, today. So
and now Christian McCaffrey rolls into town.
Yeah. And then Patrick Mahomes. Then we go to see Patty Mahomes and your guy Isaiah Pacheco.
And then you get Mike White.
Mike White is dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, no, that Panthers loss is a real. I'm just realizing that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the Seahawks' last 6 games are in Seattle, or like we're in Seattle. They had the Raiders, they got the Panthers, the Niners, the Jets, the Rams. That's a stretch of important games, and they've started with 2 losses at home there. But we'll see Thursday night. It's going to take some convincing to get me to bet on them Thursday night, but we'll see. I've made worse bets, and I will make worse bets. A good bet that I made today was on the 49ers. 49ers Bucks. That game was just like have we done this?
I don't know what this. The Bucks are not playing good. Brock Purdy. No. Shout out Brock. I think we talked a little bit about Brock and how he spread the ball out.
Yeah. So we can breeze through this and just wrap it up with the Sunday nighter. The Chargers, man. The Chargers got something.
Chargers are a different team when they have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams healthy. I mean, that 1-2 punch at wide receiver is very, very special with Herbert. You add on a little bit of Eckler. Just enough of a run game to keep teams honest. I think Eckler had 43, and I want to say that Kelly had another 20 or something on the ground. So it's like, again, it's not a great run game by any means, but it's not completely one-dimensional. And those Eckler in general is a very good runner too. So if you're not, if you don't have gap integrity, he can burn you. And again, like the Chargers kind of go back and forth. They had so many injuries. I was not expecting this, but what an absolute performance by them, and hats off to shut down this off and be able to come out here and win this game and be right in the playoff hunt now. Right in there.
So right in that playoff hunt. If the season ended today, they'd be going to Kansas City in the first round. Do you think they would have a chance? I know you talked about it briefly on Jay after the game, so I don't want to do this for too long, but can the Chargers make a run in the playoffs here?
Yes. Do I think they will, especially if it's Kansas City? No. But you have Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams healthy, and Austin Eckler. That team can score points. And whenever you have that kind of lineup and you stroll in, you have a chance every single Sunday. Every single Sunday, if those guys are healthy, you will always have a chance. I don't give a fuck what the systems say. I don't give a shit what the pundits say. If you have Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, and Austin Eckler all healthy, you will always have a chance to win.
And Joey Bosa out since week 3. He's starting to trend in the right direction. Should be coming back soon for the end of the year. They might. It feels like the playoffs this year could be. I mean, like it's usually whatever the teams that get hot, but it could be just whatever teams are healthy at the right time of the year could just.
I look at this Chargers team. 100%. You put Bryce Callahan back on this defense, Bosa back on this defense. Is it Derwin James back on this defense, and keep the offense healthy. And when I say nobody will want to see that team, I mean nobody wants to see that team. Nobody.
Can I give you a couple reasons why I would like to see that team make a bit of a run? I don't think I've told you about these. I sent a couple of screenshots over to producer Alec while we were doing the game.
Let's see.
All queued up. So I want to give you 2 reasons why I'm pulling for the Los Angeles Chargers here. You can see the date here on these bet slips, 10/06/22. This is I'm terrible with months. January, February, March, April, May, June. June 10th, 5:30 in the afternoon. My old roommate and I were sitting down on our balcony, chatting some NFL. He's an Eagles fan. He was quite high on them at the time.
How do you do this, bro? What are the odds in this right now, man?
Chargers,
what are the
Eagles?
odds in this right now? Yeah, how do you?
Well,
I don't do these futures, man.
Like I said, I made this back in June, so this is for those of you that are just listening. I got a $20 bet slip on the Eagles to beat the Chargers in the Super Bowl. $20 pays $4,800, and then we got $20 on a Chargers Eagles Super Bowl matchup. $20 pays $2,600. I'm actually curious. We can take a look on FanDuel. I don't know if they have exact matchups up at the moment, but if they do, let's pull this up real quick. You do conferences. I think you can parlay conference winners together. Who do you got coming out of the AFC?
I mean, I just want to know what the Chargers Eagles one is.
Chargers Eagles right now would be 66-1.
Wow.
You would have had to. You would have. Yeah, you would have had to bet it back in June for 130. Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
I didn't even know you in June, but thanks for letting me know, my guy.
Oh, I should have flipped you a text. It's my bad. I should have. Hey, at Luke Wilson, you don't know me, but here it is. I'm sure you get shit like that all the time. You would have. That would have been funny. We would have met. You would have been like, "Oh fuck, I got this guy blocked on Twitter. That's my bad."
It's a kind of a cool thing though. To really lock this whole conversation in, and I think later, maybe not on this, but later on social media, you'll be able to find her Monday Night Single. But this convo has led to me looking at Super Bowl odds right now.
Yep.
I'm on the American FanDuel app. Guess who's dead last in the NFL for Super Bowl odds right now? The Indianapolis Colts, baby.
Colts. What is it? What is it? Is it 1,000-1? I might. You should.
It is 1,000. I believe it's 1,000-1.
Hey, Luke. Can you skip a cup of coffee tomorrow? Can you skip your $3.50 cup of coffee at Starbucks tomorrow? Maybe toss $3.50 on the Colts there when Super. You never know. It's a good little defense. What if Andrew Luck comes out of retirement for the playoffs and we make a run?
There's still no way.
Hey, the fact that they even have Super Bowl odds at this point of the season and they're this dog shit makes me happy. I see this is like, I understand how Detroit Lions fans feel right now. The Tennessee Titans lost. It made my day. And I was like, we're relevant. We have a pulse.
A hope. You have a hope.
Maybe.
I step back the clock and just start slinging it, and it becomes the most mobile guy in the NFL.
Could you imagine Matty Ice showing up with like pocket presence and being able to move around in it on Sunday would be hilarious. Would be all time. But what do you like for this Monday nighter? We haven't talked about it at all.
I know we got to build a single. We got to build it quick. Here's my thing. It's really hard. It's really, really tough for me to get a pulse on this fucking god awful offense of the New England Patriots. It's really, really tough. That being said, I do think they're going to try and throw the ball because of the Mac Jones outbursts.
Oh,
so I'm thinking about taking a Nelson Aguilar over, which is 29.5 yards. Push the ball down the field. You're looking at me like I'm nuts.
See, I like the idea of Mac throwing tomorrow. I don't like the idea of taking any New England Patriots wide receivers. I kind of like Hunter Henry tomorrow. The Cardinals are very bad against tight ends. Maybe that's a matchup that they can look to exploit. I also just think New England wins the game.
I do too.
I do
too. But then you think Ramondre has 75 rushing yards? Like, it's tough to call these games because the teams are bunk. You know?
Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson. You say 75?
That's his line.
Shoot. Yeah, I think Mac throws it around tomorrow night. I think he throws it around. Well, I guess tonight. Throws it around Monday night. Patriots win. Kyler throws a pick. Cliff looks confused at times. I'm so tired of Kyler and Cliff. I don't even think it's been that many years, but I'm just tired of them. They gotta do something there.
Okay, so let me ask you this: 863, 4 legs.
Okay.
New England Patriots money line.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones over 227. Nelson Aguilar over 29.5. Hunter Henry over 30.5.
Nelson Aguilar. Is he? Yeah.
He's their big play guy.
What's the number?
You hate it or you love it?
Wow, I
Plus
don't love it. Sorry, what's Aguilar's receiving number?
29.5. We can alt this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess, producer Alex saying, should we do do we want to go with the James Conner anytime TD on the single to ride with Pudge, or?
To be honest with you, I'd like to make this a true Hail Mary Monday. 5 legs. Put Conner in there. It goes to 19-1. Let's go. Let's go, dude.
And you just watched the magic in real time. You just witnessed it right there. That's how it comes together. That's the beauty. So we'll get the single figured out. I don't think we got anything locked in at the moment. So you're gonna have to stick around. You're gonna have to stick around with the socials to see where we're going for Monday Night Football, because we'll find the winners. We'll find the winners. Right now we've been podcasting for 90 minutes. I think
Pudge doesn't like the Patriots money line. We gotta go. We'll end it here. We'll come back. We'll come back with a single later. I'm in a blender. Well,
I mean, Pudge doesn't like the Patriots money. We're gonna have to chat about that. I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of this. And
I think we cue the music. I think we cue the music, Luke. We call it there, and then we'll figure it out.
So let's get that music playing, producer Alec. We're getting the hang of it.
Pilot, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the infancy stages. Got to go through growing pains. Thank you, producer Alec, for all the hard work. It's much appreciated. We'll see you guys next time. This has been All Time with Luke Wilson. Peace.